Looking at our first example today, so I'll have two slide examples, and both of which are actually problem slides. So the problem slide is arguably one of the most important slides in your pitch deck because first off, it's going to typically be one of your first slides, and it's going to be important to start out strong. But more importantly, the problem slide explains why your business exists in the first place, because of course, every business exists to solve a problem for their customers. And now we could do an hour-long webinar breaking down awesome pitch decks, but I'm going to try to build on the neuroscience and psychology theme that kind of Matt has put forth. So hopefully you guys can take away some powerful points to level up your decks. But we're looking at this first example. Of course, it's a problem slide like I mentioned. This one is for a digital business card startup. So first thing I want to point out is the simplicity of the design. A lot of people get hung up on this. Here at Planewriters, I'm very fortunate to have a graphic design team that's amazing. They're capable of anything we need them to do. However, you'll still notice that we work pretty hard to keep it simple and clean. So at the end of the day, it's the content that matters. So don't obsess over the design, keep it simple, keep it clean, focus on the content. Now, looking at the header. So earlier we already mentioned, not wasting the space with those by the book descriptions. But in this instance, you'll notice we didn't do that. Instead, we've got a very concise and slightly dramatic header that actually holds value on the slide and provides some additional insight. And the next thing I want to point out before getting into the actual content would be just the flow of information. You'll notice that almost all of our slides attempt to guide the audience from left to right and top to bottom. And simply put, this is just because that's how people are innately programmed to read and consume information. So at all costs, avoid layouts with information bouncing back and forth, because it's really important that that information is read in a specific order so that it makes the most sense. Looking at the content on this one, for a great problem slide, we want to have two things. We want to have a claim, and then we want to have quantitative data that backs up that claim. So here we've got a very concise claim on the left stating that business cards are ineffective, inefficient, and environmentally wasteful. Bringing you to the right, we've got the data that supports those claims. So in this instance, we've got 88% of business cards are thrown away within 1 week. It takes 2.5 hours to manually add 100 contacts into a database. And 7.2 million trees are required each year for business card production. And then on a little deeper level, you'll notice that each of these points actually correlates with a piece of the claim. So ineffective correlates with 88% being thrown away. Inefficient correlates with 2.5 hours. And environmentally wasteful correlates with 7.2 million trees. The last example slide today, unfortunately, I'd love to go over slides all day with you guys, but another problem slide, and this time it's for an innovative weight loss company. So looking at this one, you're going to see a lot of the same principles at play. We've got a dramatic title and even a dramatic subtitle in this example. We have a paragraph format claim, bringing you to 3 points of data to back up that claim. And then lastly, in this one, we've included a small citation in the bottom right, which of course is important if you have a solid source of data. And then not to go back here, but looking at the slide prior, you'll probably notice that there were some similarities in terms of a lot of threes. So we really try to use something called the rule of three. It's a psychology rule that tells us that information presented in threes is actually more memorable, it's more persuasive and emotionally resonant. So you'll see that in both of these slides, how there's a lot of 3 points of data being presented.